8 out of 10 of my international students instantly get a job. 7 of them work in Germany. But every now and then I still have this conversation. Someone sent out 20 applications and got no replies or only rejections. Then I hear this sentence. I feel that I may get rejected because I'm a foreigner. Let's talk about it. Seriously, how high is the likelihood of discrimination? I like to work with facts and numbers. I found this study that I put a link to in the description. The group of researchers created fake profiles of people with a migration background. Profiles of people from several countries and of course German profiles to make a comparison. This study focuses on discrimination with respect to ethnicity. So every profile had German citizenship but was clearly assignable to a certain ethnic group from the name and the picture on the resume. With those profiles, they sent out close to 6,000 job applications to companies in Germany. What do you think the response rates are? Here's one chart that shows the response rate depending on the nationality of the immigration background. Here you see that German applicants have a positive response rate of 60%. As an interesting surprise, people from some countries even have a higher response rate. In general, people seem to prefer applicants from countries with which they associate similar work ethics or a similar culture. This statement itself is critical because that means people from other countries are being discriminated. The response rate for people with a migration background is on average 51%. But the study shows that it can go down to almost 40%. Let's talk about the groups of people that face discrimination. Most of those groups tend to have people with darker skin and are Muslim. I don't want to cause an uproar. This is not something that only concerns Germany. This type of study has been conducted in many countries. It's no surprise that you find discrimination almost everywhere you go. Only that the discriminated groups are different depending on where you are. What this study can provide are reasons of rejection. Is it racism, prejudice, fear, something else? What's more important is what are the key takeaways for you as an applicant. I'm going to talk about different cases. If there is a real sign of offensive behavior by the company, let's say racist comment or question during the interview, then you have every right to speak up and to sue that company. Most of the time though, there won't be any indication for discrimination. You get a standard rejection email. I want to share my perspective on the problem. I'm going to take the worst case scenario. Remember, from 10 applications from Germans, 6 came back positive. The most discriminated groups of people received only 4 positive responses. Let's look at the gap. In conclusion, 2 out of 10 companies may discriminate the applicant. What about the other 8 companies then? This person still got 4 responses. That's probably enough to land a job. But if you get close to 0 responses, your main problem isn't discrimination. It must be something else. Most companies don't discriminate. Blaming only the companies of discrimination for everything that goes wrong is too easy. We naturally tend to blame others if things don't go our way. Instead, we should take responsibility and see if there's anything to blame on our side. If you got almost no positive responses, then there isn't any hard evidence of discrimination. Check if the problem is something else. There are mistakes you can make with your application that will immediately throw you out of the game. That is independent of national, cultural, or religious background. I will now run you through a checklist of things that could have significant effect on your application. I put the links to relevant videos about many of the points that I mentioned in the description. In the past few months, many employers told me they wished more people would watch my videos about how to prepare a job application. The application documents are too often incomplete, sloppily created, or full of errors. Check my videos like 42 resume mistakes that you could easily avoid. Some people don't take the time to tailor the application. I get a few unsolicited applications per week. There's often no connection at all to our company. This is almost like spam mail to employers. The application got probably sent to hundreds of companies and they don't bother replying to this. I have a video on how to write a simple tailored motivation letter with examples. Maybe you're focusing too much on your curriculum in college, although some practical experience could be useful to get a student job or a full-time job. I have videos with tips for improving your skill set as a student or professional. Sometimes you simply must send out more applications. I ask my students how many they send out. Sometimes the answer I get is, I've sent out 3 and got no response. Let's improve your documents, make it 30 applications and come back. Some people focus on a very popular niche when they apply for jobs. The offer of candidates is much higher than the demand. Then they must compete against the best candidates. In my sector, the space industry, a typical example example is rocket propulsion. Students would love to work on that, but the options are limited. You may have to start out in another relevant field before you transition to your desired field. I have a video that will help you pick the right fields if you're in that situation. Maybe you have unrealistic salary expectations that you provide in your application. Check out my video about calculating a fair salary. Don't be too hard on yourself. Even if you're a perfect fit for a position, you may not get it. Why? Because the organization has internally picked someone for the position but formally had to advertise the job. Often there's simply someone with more experience in the run. That's okay. If you're abroad while applying for a job in Germany, it's much more difficult to compete against people who already live in Germany, especially compared to people who studied here. If you send out many unsolicited applications, you will get more rejections. The company may simply not have a position to fill. Many employers check your online profile. Unprofessional social media presence or no presence at all on professional networks may have an impact in the selection. Maybe you were invited to the interview and still got rejected. Have you ever asked yourself how good your appearance, body language, and communication skills are? I have a video with fatal interview mistakes on my channel that will add more content about those topics. Try to apply for companies that present themselves as culturally diverse. If you select a conservative company in a small town, it's likely that some people may not even speak English. They may naturally be hesitant to accepting English speakers. They may not even have bad intentions. If you can't communicate sufficiently with your coworkers, it's not fun for both sides. Apply for companies in cities and you normally don't have that problem. If you want to work in the defense sector, you may face some restrictions based on your nationality. There's a list of nationalities that are normally excluded from working on projects or companies that deal with sensitive information. I put a link to that list in the description. Also, some places like the European Space Agency, for example, normally only accept European citizens. In summary, we found that many groups of people are being discriminated in the search for a job. We don't know the reasons, and it's almost impossible to get any hard evidence for discrimination. We'll have to live with this statistically visible but also fuzzy circumstance. What you can do is to focus on yourself by improving your skill set and your application documents. Look at it from the positive perspective. The vast majority of organizations are open to working with people independent of their nationality, culture, religion, or sexual orientation. As I said in the beginning of this video, 8 out of 10 of my international students quickly get a job after graduation. Why is that? Because they are very active during their studies, collect great experience, and prepare themselves very well before they apply. I got one more bonus tip for you. If you get rejected, reply kindly. Use that chance to thank the company anyway. Ask for feedback. Let them know that you will observe the company's development and are open to opportunities in the future. Leave a good impression. This way you can easily come back after some time and maybe it will work out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know if there's any hard-pressing question that you have about your life as a student or professional. Stay safe and see you soon.